I haven't really got a voice, so I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm gonna make a hot cup of tea. Welcome to the craziest episode, another one of those. It's the Yarnchix Podcast, and I'm coming to you all the way from Scotland after Edinburgh Yarn Fest. So buckle in, get a cup of tea, and maybe you're knitting or crochet or sewing or just sit and spend some time with me. I'm getting a nettle tea so as to cure this husk. I'll be right back, have a little peek at what happened. May, are you gonna hop down? Can I have a go? May? Can I have a go? Come, hop down. You're not a dog, right? Come on, let me sit down. May. Like this. Perched on the end of the chair. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 28. This time coming from Glasgow, amazing Scotland. My name is Mimi. I am the host of Yarnchix Podcast, which is a knitting podcast. There's sometimes some crochet, some sewing, there is some toy making, there is some, I don't know, some stuff. And I am always happy to welcome you here. This time it's a bit of a special episode because I am in Scotland. I am reporting back from the EYF, which is Edinburgh Yarn Festival, with a lot of community, a lot of people have been met, a lot of lovely meetups and socializing has happened, but also a little bit of stash enhancement and a little bit of voice losing. And some amazing food. I've had lots of really amazing food and an amazing time spent around tables.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. A step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
So this time we were quite a few people from the Berlin knit night, Dear Wedding Knits, and well, Liebes Wedding strickt in Deutsch, and we decided we would host a little gathering, and I obviously grabbed a little bit of footage. It was a lovely event. I was so happy to have people from all over Europe there, Canadian and American. So I loved it. It was very international and very great to see you all. I stayed with amazing friends Lieke, Mieke, Hanneke, Mareike and Louisa, and it was really lovely to share a little flat in Dean Village and just sort of hang out around the times. Obviously everybody was busy with festival times and meetups, but we did spend an intensive time together. I shared a room with Louisa, who's knitted dukas, which was lovely, and we ended up often chatting late. So I'm kind of mainly thankful for this festival to have put me back in a room, into real life, contact with my friends from previous years, because that's where we met. So the Liebes Wedding Strick crew was also there, and there were Elke, Katrin, Sarah, Camilla, Louise, who lives in England now, but she comes to our knit night regularly. Rebecca joined from Hamburg. Have I mentioned everyone? Gesine joined, my boss from Wollerin, so that was really lovely. She was over for 2 days. So sort of the Liebes Wedding core group. We missed quite a few people that couldn't make it, but we're having a meetup next week, so I guess we'll be sharing lots of stories. One of the highlights for me was meeting people in real life that previous to this weekend I hadn't met in person yet. So Holly, for one, who makes these amazing necklaces, and we hung out quite a lot around at other points, and it was really lovely to connect with a fellow mama soul. Met Heidi for the first time of the Books and Chaos podcast that I've really grown fond of. She does these little vlogs and travel vlogs. She also has a separate travel account, and I just love her meanderings. I love her sort of humor and storytelling, and her knitwear, obviously. She knits a lot and a lot of lovely things. Then Julie was around all weekend, which was lovely. She also has a podcast, Carrot and Coriander. It's also the name of her podcast, and it felt like we live in the same place, and we did for 4 days, but it sort of feels like our friendship is this sort of magic thing we can just hop in and out of, I guess, because we are connected through this funny square place called Instagram. I'm Liebwed on Instagram, so you can always go and check out photographs that I've taken and footage I've taken. There's like some stories have been saved. I also finally met Hannah, who is Nakamili, and Claire, who is Idril, and Anya, Knitting Sharky, who contributed something to the zine. which is the polar bear sewing pattern. It was really lovely to hang out. Meet Frauke, who is also a natural dyer and experiments a lot with natural dyes and plant dyes. And we'd been writing for so long, it was amazing to finally meet in real life. And she was here with her friends Anne-Sophie and Osi, so it was really nice. They came around and they all live in Denmark, so I had not met them previously. Also, I hadn't met Judith, another one of the Dutch knitters, I think Mika's friend. Then I had not met Lauren or Mika, who were over from America, I think. I hope I don't get that wrong. And Mika took a really lovely picture of Heidi and me. I was so happy to... It was a really lovely chance meeting, and it was a lovely time spent in the Region Bar. Is a really lovely pub, and we had this little extra area to sit. Amelia also showed up, and Debbie was there, and Alison, and Maddie Harvey, who I'd taken a workshop with on the first day, on Wednesday. I learned about how to use your stitch dictionary, and it was a very lovely class with Maddie, where I was knitting. I really want to experiment with a specific stitch pattern that I'd found in a German stitch dictionary, and it was so much fun to play around with. I know I have so much more learning and so much more experimenting to do, but that was really fun. So that was about it. So I basically said all the names of the people who came, apart from Lisa. Lisa is Erica Eccles, and I visited her in Norwich, and the last episode, episode 27, was actually her and I knitting together in a lovely little bar in Norwich. It was so good to see her again. I'd sort of hope to spend more time with her, but that's always the way on festivals. Everybody's so busy floating around and going to meet people here and there. So it was extra lovely that we sat together, and there was conversations about plant dyes and making. And actually, one of the last to show up was Jule Mama Wolf, because she had to take down the stand. And so she showed up a bit later on that evening. She'd been so generous and sold my zine on her stall, and I'd done 2 meet and greets there and managed to meet up with people, which was really lovely. I had a lot of sort of smiles and giggles when my Pinger zine was picked up, and when I was telling that story. Obviously it sort of makes sense with the story, and otherwise it's a bit of a random little zine, but yeah, I was so happy. Thank you so much if you showed up during the meet and greet, or if you purchased my zine at EYF. It means the world to me, because I actually managed to earn a little bit from my zine. So I'm excited to put that online very soon. So as soon as I get back, I'm going to edit this podcast. So maybe I will have the zine up and ready in Etsy when this episode is released. So do go and check out my Etsy shop. When you see this, you can go to Etsy and buy the latest Yarnchix zine number 5, plus much more new, kind of quirky, different little extra zine stuff. And I'm very pleased that it was received very well. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's go into the podcast. Now that I've sort of waffled a bit about the social and the exciting part for me, the love and care and the community of our amazing festival experience, and I hope I mentioned everyone I met. I think I met so many people alongside, and also said hi here and there in cafes and bars, and marquee moments. that I might have missed out on someone, please don't be offended. Just go, I saw you in the comments, and I'll amend this, and we'll have a bit of a chat about who else I met in the next episode, because there's always something that I miss out. I took loads of pictures in the TOFT Photobooth. It was a hilarious fun. So let me conclude this bit about who I met and who was where and when by showing you around the festival a little bit and some of the social events that I got to be a part of. Can you imagine how much fun that photo booth was? It was hilarious. We couldn't stop ourselves, and Julie kept shouting out to the young man that was sort of, you know, looking after the equipment, like, she's not going to leave you now, she's going to stay here all day. It wasn't really all day, but we did take loads of photos. This time in the podcast, I'm going to turn things on their head a little bit. I've got a couple of new finished objects. One of them I'm wearing. It is the Jamboree sweater by amazing Francesca Hughes. It was published in the Pom Pom issue number 21, which was the celebratory birthday Pom Pom quarterly from 2017, so a while back. I had fallen in love with this very summery John Arbon textiles alpaca sweater with the holes, but I hadn't found the right colours. So last year at EYF I picked up the seafoam colour, which is the main colour also in the original design by Frankie, and 2 white skeins, so to dye them myself with plants. It didn't really happen quickly enough, or it took a while, but amazing Elke, my friend and fellow Liebeswedding knitter, she dyed the red in one of her sort of own specific red colours that I couldn't recreate but really wanted. And on the alpaca it turned out in this very huge pinkish red, which I love. The colour is called Scarlet in her BFL Massam blend yarn, and it's lovely. Please do go and check out her shop. The other teal colour I dyed myself. Oh, it was so exciting. I used tansy to achieve a rather sort of muted but bright yellow, and then I over dyed with indigo, so it was 2 dye processes, took a bit longer, and I was still wondering whether I should over dye or not with onion to create a sort of rather deepish green, but now I'm so happy with this colour combination. Guess when I finished? It was Thursday night at 2 a.m. And then I blocked in the sort of funniest blocking way, which I'm gonna make a little vlog about as well as part of my travel vlog for Patreon, because it was hilarious. It did work. I woke up at 8 in the morning and the thing was dry. I guess you know it's quite a light and loose yarn, a lace weight. I would call it lace weight. So obviously that dries a bit quicker, and it obviously wasn't a proper block. I will have to like properly block it. I had bought the blocking pins on my first day at EYF that morning on Thursday because I hadn't brought any, but it worked out, and I wore this on Friday proud as whatnot. And poor Frankie, I kept going, look, and like the whole John Arbon textile store had me tell them the story of how I'd been up on knitting this. Mainly because people said, you won't have a block, you won't finish it. That was very nice of you to say, because it encouraged me to stay up till the middle of the night and go fall asleep over my I-cord. Oh, this pink one. I was falling over asleep whilst knitting that and waking up and falling asleep and waking up. Managed. So, officially, the one and only EYF sweater 2019 Jamboree, designed by Francesca Hughes in John Armour Textiles. So proud, so proud. Yeah, this will be the only sweater I'll talk about, the only project yet, because I want to tell you all about my haul. And then I will include more finished objects at the end, because I recently had a bit of a finished knitting making frenzy, so there will be more of that. If you're not interested in a haul, I will put the timing down here when I edit, where you have to scroll to if you want to see the end of, or just the sort of knitted garment stuff. Okay, because I do want to tell an accurate story of EYF, I think I'm going to go almost like in the order of what I bought and why. Why, for example, did I buy this amazing yarn? It's the collaboration between La Bien-Aimée and Rosa Pomar on her Mondim sock yarn base. And you all know how obsessed I am with Rosa Pomar yarn, and that I knit, those who know me would know this about me. I've knitted, I'm actually knitting a pair of socks. I will show you in a little bit in this yarn. And now that Aimée of La Bien-Aimée has started to dye on this base, I'm obsessed. It's the first time there's a non-superwash base, or at least the first time I'm aware of, in La Bien-Aimé's sort of yarn blends, so I'm super excited to knit this. I've knitted Mondim quite a bit, and I bought it with some of my birthday lolly, because that's the exciting thing actually with all of my purchases now came from a yarn budget that my friends and family supported me with, which is really exciting. And I have a friend who said that extra special skein that you usually maybe not buy, here is an envelope. That money that I'm giving you is meant to go to this kind of skein. And that was Stephanie of Favnitz, and she's a crazy good sock knitter, so it kind of is coincidentally good that it was this sock yarn that I bought. However, I want to make a shawl with this amazing speckly golden brown, and it's got sort of bluish reddish specks in there. I am in love with the skein. It did hurt my budget quite a bit, but my friend did an aim for me, so so that was the first purchase. I actually, because I knew that I didn't know how much they brought, but I knew that it would be quite sought after, or at least I thought so. So that was the first place I went. On Thursday, when the festival opened, I went straight to La Bien-Aimée and bought this with my actual birthday money from my actual birthday envelope, because they take euros. So number one. Later that day, I met Sylvie of Phileas yarn, and she had these amazing speckled sock yarns. I think it's the only yarn that I've bought that's got a synthetic country, 20% nylon, 80% blue-faced Leicester, so a purple sock yarn with a nice twist and this amazing colours, specs, and the colorway is called Los Días de los Muertos. And I love it. I'm gonna make a second pair of Kia socks with this. I will show you them and then I'll explain. Super happy to have met Sylvie, because we both knitted the Myrtle Bear, and I met the Myrtle Bear, so I've got a bit of footage of Myrtle, which was lovely for Cynthia. And yeah, fell in love with the skein and bought it on Friday. Yeah, so not on the Thursday. Did I? Yeah, I bought that a day later. So, but I did go there after going to Aimée. I also bought one skein of Opus to make up the sweater quantity, because I bought this in Essshawl, and with the sort of pre-EYF I spent a lot of time going through my stash and looking at what I have that is complete, incomplete, needs a little friend. And this, I worked out I needed one more skein to make sure I can actually make the sweater that I want to make with the Opus yarn that I've already got in the stash. So I'm gonna make a flax sweater, and I've got some red from the same on the same base, so the ribbing here and sleeves will be in red, and the rest of the sweater in this sort of really lovely soft toned black. And Carmen, who runs Walcot Yarns, also owns a yarn shop called Yarn Stories, and it was lovely to see her again. We're friends because we hung out a lot in Essshawl. As stall neighbours, that's sort of what you do. You sort of hang out a lot. Also, that was it. So, actually what's interesting about this time in the festival, I'd known I wanted to save my lolly for the Sunday, so I ended up not really walking around the festival buying lots of like yarn. I did walk around and look at sort of treats that I know I will enjoy that I need for knitting, like little bits of tools and things that sort of makes it more fun. So I got a new set of stitch markers from the Travel Knitter. It's got one darning needle, or two darning needles, a smaller and a larger one, and some stitch markers in this really quite practical tin, and I lost the one I bought last year. So I'm very glad she still had them on her stall, because she said these are the last ones. Once they're gone, they're gone. So I picked up two. And I picked up these amazing stitch markers. They're Dorset Buttons by Tanya of TJ Frog, who lives on the Isle of Skye. And 2 years ago we met during the Ceilidh. We were actually sat next to each other. We had the most amazing chats. And I'm so glad to own some of her artwork. It took me ages to choose the box with the ones that I wanted to take home because they're quite precious. But yeah, I will forever think of Tanya now when I'm knitting socks, because these are brilliant for sock knitting. They're very light little stitch markers. I'm going to try and sort of film a close-up of all of the sort of normal festival haul here before I start talking about the Sunday event. Because this year, a bit like last year, there was the Make Wool event. Last year this event was called Meet the Shepherd, Meet the Shepherdess, and it was sort of announced relatively late, and I had got tickets for it and booked my travels, so it worked. So I was super pleased to go there last year, and from my way back when, from all my yarn haul from that Sunday, I'd made this one meadowsweet shawl, and it was all the different sort of yarn brands that I only found there. So the main bit is Black Isle yarn, and this is New Leaf yarns, these sort of alpaca, this sort of tiny little fade, and then the edges was or a tiny little mini skein, I think 10 grams hawk shore sheep, and all these yarn brands were there this Sunday again. So it was lovely to go and look at their sort of new stuff and show them my shawl. I was very excited to show off what I'd made with last year's haul. First purchase on Sunday was from Black Isle Yarn, also because Emily was working there. She's Flutter Bee Knits, or Flutter Bee, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, and a lovely designer, lovely friend, and she always helps. She did also help Julie last year on the Black Isle Yarn stall. And when I walked up to her and I said, Emily warned me because everything that was on display was what they had. So there was no like hidden boxes or nothing hidden under the table. So I sort of dived in as soon as I noticed that. I really love this loosely spun Shetland quality that Julie has on offer. And this is very lightly plant dyed. Oak bark it says. I have 2 more skeins at home, which is one is natural and one is dyed golden, and I thought if I add this then I have sort of 3 colours to do, make a little stripy shawl with that. So I needed this to add to 2 skeins at home, and I couldn't go past this. The second thing I bought from Julie, Black Isle Yarn, is this amazing set of Killen BFL. Oh no, Killen is the name of her fibre, that's what she calls it, and it's blue face Leicester mohair blended. So these are really nice natural sock yarns. I bought them because I also have the Green Bean zine by Katie Greenbean, who designed the cockle socks, and that is a colourwork sock, and she uses exactly this set, I think, but I kind of understand why. This purple is so lovely. It's like a really violet-y, but in the direction of brown. Julie did an amazing job. I love this colour. So she calls it Pearl, and it's naturally dyed with logwood and gall nut. So I guess it's sort of a way of changing logwood dye by adding the gall nut to it, which gives it this sort of more greyish sheen rather than a sort of straight out there purple. I love it, and I can't wait to knit these socks. They are colourwork socks, so I'm gonna be super, it's gonna take some time before I can make them because I need to practice, because if the tension is too tight, that'll be a shame. I need to really make sure they fit either me or a friend very well, because colourwork socks with all the floats have a tendency to become so tight that especially my wide teddy bear socks find it hard to even enter this kind of sock. I tried with the Pixel Rise sock and failed miserably in the past, but that was my first sock, so I shall forgive myself and try better next time. Can't wait, I'm really happy. This is sort of like a stash treat from Julie. Have I got more in my bag? More socks also bought on Sunday. Exmoor sock, the new sock base from John Arbon Textile for some stripy socks. I love the label. I love this, all the designs that came out with the Exmoor sock yarn base. And there is actually a design by my friend Rebecca Malza from Berlin, which uses different depths of stripes. So I can imagine knitting that, or else exploring a bit more. There is I saw a pair of socks. A friend was wearing a pair of socks that I was living with, Mareike Ribbes. I was thinking, maybe I should just copy that style. And so I bought 2, and whilst I'm at John Arbon's stall, I must admit, I sort of knew this before I left Berlin, because I decided I wanted to knit either the raspberry twirl that this hen is wearing, or the syrup waffle that this hen is wearing, by Francesca Hughes. And Katie illustrated the centerfold, and I said, you've got free rein, just choose some designs from some of our sort of dearest design friends, and just, you know, stick different birds into different garments. And she had such fun playing around, and I'm so happy. I'm extra happy because I wanted to knit the syrup waffle as soon as. So the syrup waffle sweater quantity was bought from John Arbon. I got to also try on Frankie's version, and she knitted it in size number 5. So I bought yarn for size number 6 because I felt it was slightly, the sleeves were perfect, but it was slightly tight on the chest, and I didn't really want, I want a really well-fitting cardigan. So I decided to do that, and to definitely have enough yarn and not run out. I love it. It's the Exmoor Zwartbles in DK, so double knit, and it's very earthy and lovely and brown. And I chose the Harvest Hue Bracken as the sort of, I don't know if you just saw in the picture, there's sort of like a waffly, like a syrup waffle type of texture going down the front and the back, and there's a little stripe of it on the cuff, about that much on the cuff, but I've decided to knit all brown sleeves because I don't need that extra frilly bit. I want just like a really lovely shaped cardigan, and it felt really nice to try it on and wear it. So my first sweater quantity, and that was decided. I think I made a little list of things that I might want to shop for, and that was kind of what I crystallized on the first day by looking at it, trying it on, and it was a really good decision-making process for myself, as I'd not been given one sweater quantity as I'd like asked for on my birthday. Oh, if everybody gives me a little bit of money, I can buy myself a nice amount of yarn for a sweater that I'm dreaming about. But I suddenly had funds to buy 2 or maybe even 3 sweater quantities, and I was like, oh my god, this is like, yeah. So I had to make a decision. I was so chuffed yeah, and I'm happy with this very autumnal reddish orange. It's gonna be a cardigan that I will wear and cherish, and I'm so pleased I managed to buy the yarn this time. The other sweater quantity that I bought came from Shilasdir. This is their label. And another indigo dream come true. This is their Aran weight, so it's a slightly thicker yarn, and I'm hoping to bang out a sweater in this, because that was sort of the dream, was a blue sweater, and I wanted some kind of textured stitch, and I hadn't decided. But before going to the market on Sunday, I'd picked out the sweater design that I want to make, and that is the Nurtured Sweater by Andrea Mowry. It is a boxy shape, so sort of short, ends shortly above the belt, but the sleeves are, you know, long. A very similar shape to the Humboldt sweater. And I'd seen a friend and podcaster of mine podcast about her blue Nurtured sweater and how much she loved it, and I could totally and 100% utterly see her point. Susan of the Knit Lip podcast knitted this, I think, this winter. I think she finished in December, and I'd seen her wear it on Instagram, but also heard her speak about the process of knitting it and how it was fun, and it just looks like exactly the kind of sweater I'd love. So I'm copying your style, Susan. A blue Nurtured sweater. And yeah, I bought 6 of the Aran weight, so 2 just fell down. 1 I put down, 1 fell down. And it's slightly thicker, potentially. Oh god, I love it. It's still got the straw inside it. Dyed indigo blue. Shilasdir is a natural dyeing yarn company from the Isle of Skye, which I think is inviting me to come over. Like, no, I mean, no one in particular, just the island is sort of calling me, because I just hear so much about it and find out about so many people being based out there. I feel like I want to visit everyone one fine day. Shilasdir's ownership recently changed, I think, or that's as far as I understood, because I've been looking on their website and there wasn't any yarn available for a while. So I was super excited when I saw the sellers list, what do you call it? The list of people who will sell on Sunday, and that Shilasdir will be there. And this blue really spoke to me, so I'm happy to say these are the 2 sweater quantities that I've bought for myself with my birthday money. So thank you very much if you're one of my friends or family members that contributed, because it's amazing to make those dreams come true. I will be busy, however. This is like this year's knitting. Oh, 2 sweaters and more. Look, I bought these plant dyed Southdowns yarns from Louise when I saw her, when I went to show her my Essshawl, which I will show you again in a minute. I have quite a bit of the pink left from the Essshawl, so I bought colours that I want to stripe with the pink. So we'll have 2 other shades of pink, and I'm thinking about a little child's cardigan in these sort of various plant dyes. And I think I'm going to just do like a top-down raglan cardigan experiment in these stripes. I'm very excited to have some of Louise's amazing Southdowns. The yarn base is a breed-specific Sussex wool, Southdown wool, sorry. And she dyed this with madder, goldenrod, and oh, this is one of her solar dyes with walnuts. And the other 2 that I have are pinks from Hawthorn. I went blank last time and I had to like put the name in, but it was Hawthorn. And madder, also solar dyes. So I'm super happy. Like 5 colors, 5 stripes. Oh, I should show you. So these 2 pinks. And these 3 colours all sort of striped and intermingling in a little child's garment. I was so lucky because some of my friends brought me presents. Hannah Nakamili, she knitted me a whole hat. This is from the Little Lionhead Knits yarn that she won during Magic 3 Mile, and look. Oh, the ribbing. It's perfect. I love it. And I was so generous. I was like, you didn't have to give me a thing. I gave you it because you want it, you know. Thank you so much, Hannah. That's really lovely of you. I feel very chuffed to hold some of your hands making. And I got some plant dyed yarn from Lika, who I stayed with. She plant dyed with avocado and with I think this is also tansy, and gave me 2 little mini skeins, so I'll see what to do with them. And Anya, who is the woman behind the amazing polar bear pattern, sewing pattern in the recent Yarnchix scene, she made these sort of reusable makeup pads. And I chose one with a cloud on. It's really cute. Louise's stall, she's the owner and dyer behind Southdowns yarn. She'd made me this little leaf to go with my leaf garland that I had recently posted about and that I'd brought to our little knit meetup on Saturday. It was sort of adorning the wall, and being like a little part of our party. So I'm super kind of you to give me this little leaf. I think I'm gonna be cheeky and just make a brooch for myself with it so I can actually wear it. So cute, thank you, Louise. All the presents and all the haul have been shared. Oh, one more thing that I didn't buy, sorry, I just saw that on the floor, that I didn't buy for myself, but for my daughter, is a little Stitch Birdie badge of a fox, literally fox. My daughter's in the fox class, so I think she will appreciate it and maybe put it on her new school backpack. Or maybe it'll be lost there, so maybe she'll just have it as a little treat for me. I love the Stitch Birdie and her stuff. She was so overwhelmed, and it was so lovely to see how excited everybody was at her. So I've included some of her stand in photographs and in my filming of the sort of little travel vlog of Edinburgh. So I should say that is it. That was my sort of haul sharing and yarn showing. It's quite a lot, I know, but I think it's still manageable, and some of it's going to be sort of my own sort of creative work, and I'm sort of feeding bits of my stash and sort of added some things to some existing yarns, which I guess is a good way of shopping to sort of make your stash work or shine again. And then there's a lot more new projects going to happen, so I'm itching to cast on. I cast off so many projects. I have new projects going to come up, but I am so happy that one of my finished objects is this amazing Essshawl, a design by Anna Maltz from her book Marla, A New Direction in Knitting. And I knitted a big blue version last year, and then finished this, started this already last year, but finished this recently, sort of end of February. I finished knitting it, and the steek I filmed here, so I've only steeked it now. Hence it's not blocked, and the fringe is still like uncurling knit stitches, because when you have the shawl, when you knit it, it's sort of like a tube with more knit stitches here, and then one line in the middle where you will use the scissors and cut it open, and then you can unfold your shawl and unfurl the knit stitches that are sort of extra excess knit stitches, and tie little knots to make this sort of fringed shawl. I especially finished because I wanted to show Louise of Southdowns Yarns, Louise, because she had gifted me these two colors from her plant dye pots, and they were both solar dyed. And the Daughter of a Shepherd, this is knitted with this sort of like a lace weight Daughter of a Shepherd Hebridean Zwartbles mix. So I'm kind of stuck to Anna's suggested yarns, but only after I've been gifted the amazing plant dye by Louise, which I'm still like so... It's such amazing art plant dyed yarn that I really appreciate people's work and effort that goes in, and you know, try and pay them fairly and support their work. But when they gift it, I know it really comes from the heart, and they spend a lot of time with this yarn. So Louise, forever grateful, and also Anna for the amazing pattern that I really like knitting the Essshawl. This is, how I said, my second. It was very much my sort of fun knit. I put it to the side, picked it up, put it to the side, picked it up. Not a VLP knit that was sort of rushing through. And I kind of like having a project, it's a bit warm in the sunshine right now, a project that is like that on my needles at all times. One of those sort of slower makes that I don't give myself a deadline. Like with this sweater, my EYF festival sweater, I knitted it in 2.5 weeks because I gave myself the deadline, and I'd cast on slightly too late. And, you know, I had to wait to dye and dry. You know, the own plant dye processes that I was committed to took me so long. So that is you know, if I'd done more of that last year like I'd planned, this would have been finished during, for example, Francesca's knit along. I'm waffling, sorry. Oh, why I'm waffling? I just am a bit waffly. Another friend that I met and at the festival, and I knew I was going to meet, and I was sort of aiming to finish the full moon wrap for our meetup was Emily Foden of Viola and the Moon Yarn. She made this pattern, designed this pattern, and is published in her book Knits About Winter. And this is a book that is printed by Pom Pom Press or published by Pom Pom Press. I, however, didn't knit it in Viola's amazing yarn. I used Hey Mama Wolf yarn, my friend who also sold the zine for me in on her stall at the festival. It's just so nice. This is Coburger Fuchs. It's got a really nice tint to it, and I think part of my excitement to show Emily is that I know that this is something that doesn't show on camera and will never show on camera, that you have this sort of glow, gingery, reddish, yellowy glow to the natural cream colored yarn, which is due to some longer, redder hairs that this specific breed of sheep has. I mean, they're red faced and they're called Coburger Fuchs because they look a bit like a fox, the color of their face. I think there's a word for that. Excuse my bad expression. It's slightly red, so their face, they have these little red, foxy red faces. And the edge, the bobbled edge that you pick up in it at the end, I used a sock yarn dyed with indigo by youuuuu, which is a nylon free rami and wool blend, and the tassels were one mini skein of like indigo dyed Hey Mama Wolf. And since I've got the tassels, actually this shawl's even more fun. I knitted and finished it and wore it at a recent family event, and I didn't have the tassels yet, but it still looked very elegant, I thought. Added the tassels on Monday. I'm like, oh my god, they're so fun. Everything should have tassels or pom-poms, or anyway, that's how I feel with shawls right now. I feel like it'd be fun to add tassels to all of them. That was it, and my finished objects. Because in the drive to finish, I'd done the Essshawl, this. I finished the Saubein cardigan already, and already spoke about that last time, so I'm excluding that here because I've offered quite a lot. I filmed the steek of the Essshawl, so I will add that in as my little knit reportage alongside the sort of travel vloggy ins and outs, maybe of festival stuff. I'll see. Maybe I've already shown that because I had the idea to maybe show that in between. Thank you so much for spending time with me here in this beautiful sunny spot. I can't believe the weather, so I need to go out there, grab some fresh air. I had an assistant, Cat May. I'm going to spin the camera around to show you. May, the assistant, is dreaming up yarn dreams over my running order. She did also complain that I kept waffling. She's not so convinced I did very well because I waffled, but I tried. I'm gonna film one little outfit thing because I like these tassels so much, and I did that here last time. So thank you so much for your time, and if you were in Edinburgh, it was lovely to see you. If you also had a festival there but we didn't meet, I hope you had a brilliant time and you have some beautiful treats that to come with yourself. Maybe see you next year, who knows? Just thank you. Thank you for coming around and bearing with me. I'm gonna edit, so I don't know how much of my waffling you will have to endure, but see you soon. Bye.